Hello, my name is Grant Clayton, owner of 1% List, and today we're going to talk about overcoming listing challenges. So this is for houses that you have listed that haven't sold for whatever reason, and these are the questions that you're going to get from your clients wondering, what are you not doing right? What are you doing wrong? And how to deal with those objections. So number one is anytime you arrive at this scenario, you're going to run into something that I call the crossroads. And the crossroads is this. You're going to hit that point in the road where frustrations are going up a little bit, and you're at the crossroads of your seller is either going to come to realize and understand that their house hasn't sold because of its condition or its price or its location or something about the house, or they're going to go down the path of this is obviously my realtor's fault and what is my realtor not doing right. Now then, let me stress this. The better that you get with mastering the listing presentation and explaining the listing presentation, the more they are likely to choose the path down the road, which is, hey, how do I get my house sold, as opposed to pointing the finger at my realtor. Okay, so it's important to master listing presentation. Now then, for those clients that just refuse to go down the path of reality with their house and they just have to go down the road of pointing the finger at you, how do you deal with those objections? So, first objection is, why can't I have my house at this price? Your job is to get activity regardless of the price, okay? That becomes very difficult to do. So ultimately, the real estate market is now online. It's completely driven online, and you might need to come up with some very simple analogies that you can give to those people, okay? Just kind of flip that on their head and ask them, look, how much marketing would you have to do to sell a $40,000 vehicle for $70,000, okay? If you have something that the sticker price is $1, how much marketing would be required to sell it for $2? And eventually they start to realize that a house is a house in the market. Now you can negotiate a little bit better and maybe get them a little bit better price on this or that, but in general, all the information is online. Everyone can view that information. It becomes very easy to figure out what a house is worth. And if they are priced ridiculously too high, then people are going to say either they're really not interested in selling it, or they're just completely insane and there's no way we're getting this number, and so they're not even going to go see it. Okay? So pricing a house too high is it's self-defeating. Another analogy that I like to give them is whenever I'm listing a house, or even when I'm a little bit into the listing presentation or a little bit into the actual listing period itself, and a house still hasn't sold, number one, when that conversation arises and you realize they're overpriced, you show them the listing documents where you suggested, based off the CMA, that it be priced 15 or 20% or however much lower than it is. And you give them that reminder. And when they tell you, well, it shouldn't matter, you should be getting the activity anyways, then run them down the road of what that contract is actually going to look like. They're going to need an appraisal. They're going to have, a buyer that agrees to finance a house for way more than it's worth. And so you just tell them, look, we need a sucker with cash that has an agent that doesn't know what the hell they're doing. All right, if you know where those people are, let me know and I'll start calling them. And that's when they start to realize, hey, it's impossible to do what I want to do. And now you're leading them back down that other path, on the path to reality. The next step is, let's do open houses. If you did your job with a listing presentation and you make them realize, look, less than 1% of all houses is going to sell through an open house, okay? And so in some markets, if you're in downtown Manhattan where you got people going up and down elevators looking at apartments all day long, then yeah, maybe open houses make sense to some degree. But in general, they're not going to make a house sell that isn't selling. And so realistically, you just kind of bring them down that logic of, so what you're telling me is your house is in good shape, it's priced correctly, everything else is good, but because we haven't placed balloons outside your house on a random Saturday and we're not inside baking cookies, we haven't gotten an offer yet. Okay, in a world, there's actually a great study that was done by this, Real Estate in the Digital Age, where they point out that almost 90% of the people born during the 1940s, they're searching online for real estate. Pretty much every single baby boomer and every single millennial is searching online for real estate. Open houses is not the answer. It's not the answer to fix an overpriced house that's not in good condition, okay? The next step, what are you not doing, all right? I always love to turn this right back on its head and say, well, here's what I am doing, and I currently have 12 houses under contract, and the average realtor only sells 3 or 4 houses a year. So rather than look at what I'm not doing, ask yourself the question of, how is what I'm doing working for all these people, but it's just not working for you? With our strategies, with our product, you should be able to sell 400, 500% of the homes that an average realtor does. So how do you achieve that if your marketing is horrible? At some point, it becomes easier for them to point their finger back at themselves and say, man, this person's really successful with the exception of my house. So what is it about my house that's not working? Now, once again, they're going down that other path on the road to reality. Okay. Number 5, Agent X just sold a house really fast down the street. Well, when confronted with that, just play that game, go down that road and research that house. Do another market analysis and say, well, that house was priced within where it should be in the market, and your house is priced well outside of what the market will bear. That house has a pool and a fence. Your house is in need of TLC. Why do you think that house sold faster? Is it because that agent did a better job of putting it on the MLS? The same photographer took the same photos. Or is it because there's something wrong with your house that it's not selling and yet all the other ones are? At some point, they have to stop and go through that reality check. Houses sell for 3 reasons: price, condition, and location. Okay? If you got an amazing location, amazing condition, then your price could be a little bit higher. But if you're in bad shape and you're not in the best neighborhood, then guess what? Your price needs to be a little bit lower. No matter what, there is a market, and you need to make sure they're inside the norms of that market, or really, really close, or they're not going to get activity. The better job you do explaining to them the listing presentation and explaining to them the importance of being inside that market, the easier your job's going to be and the less often you're going to have these difficult conversations. This is Grant, owner of 1% Lists. Thank you. Have a good day.